goes on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, gonna go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So obviously this chart right here on the call side is all goofed up because of FOMC. We end up pumping, dumping, pumping back up, so it's a little bit of a mess on this chart. But going into today, market was bullish at the open. You could see we ended up opening right here, 9:30 candle, first 30-minute candle, and then throughout the first couple hours, you could see what kind of was going on here. So on SPY, the 50 actually ended up turning down at one point, and I did have more of a bearish bias at that point. So I was open to taking a put cross. So we actually did get the put cross today, and we actually caught a solid trade. So if we pull up SPY here, I just played this 5-minute cross right here. So 10 SMA going above the 50 right here. I got my entry. Let me pull up the Discord real quick. But so this cross I did go a little bit lighter on, but I actually did average up into this trade. So that's something that I do like to do a lot with the trades, is take my starter position, my initial position, and then once it starts to go in my favor, I do end up adding more to it. So all right, so this is what the chart looked like. 10 SMA crossing the 50 right here on the put side, so that's why I did take this short. And I'm trying to find when exactly I did go. Yeah, so 10-11 is when I went short. Was down like 10 points, but I'm pretty sure 10 points was the max I was down. And then once it started to go in my favor, I averaged up into this trade, and I sent it to the Discord that I added some more size once it ended up moving and started to get a drop, and we ended up catching a really good move, 50 points on NQ. It ended up running a little bit more than that, but since we did have a FOMC today, we started to get a little bounce, and I just exited the rest of the position. It was probably up like 45 points, but the peak was probably anywhere from like 60, 70 points, maybe even 80, depending on where you sold at. But again, I was completely fine with taking 50 points on NQ, and yeah, that was the setup. It's as simple as that. We just took the cross on puts, and we got paid. And again, like I said, the reason why I did take that was because at the time, the 50 SMA actually ended up turning down. Actually, I could probably find the screenshot of like what exactly the 30-minute looked like and why I did take the put cross, and I explained all this in the Discord when I did take this entry. But yeah, I just, by the way it looked, I just wasn't too confident in that 30-minute 50 holding. So right here, this is what it ended up looking like. You could see the 50 SMA actually ended up turning down a little bit, and I'm like, okay, if we get a cross on puts, I'm gonna take it. And we got that cross, and we got a solid move out of it. So that's how that ended up playing out. QQQ was actually a lot weaker though. So like when we actually look at the SPY cross on the 5-minute here, it really doesn't look like much of a move happened, but we took NQ, and NQ actually ended up making a lot bigger of a move. So if we pull up the NQ chart just for reference to show you what that looks like, I wasn't using this chart to take the trade, but just to kind of show you the difference in the weakness that NQ had compared to SPY. You could see how weaker it was. We just ended up trending down, trending down, trending down, and the SPY chart was a little bit more choppier and didn't drop that much. So that's why the chart didn't really look like it gave too much. But again, if you probably did hold this, I mean, I don't even know what the percentage was on the put side here if you just end up holding this. So I mean, 213. Yeah, I mean, it kind of chopped around for quite a bit. Peaked at like 291. So SPY again wasn't that big of a move. NQ gave a lot bigger of a move. Caught 50 points. That was that for SPY. But yeah, that's what we did for SPY today in the Discord. And then when it comes to individual stocks, we're gonna go over some here. So first one, BMNR. This one looked really good. It still looks really good. I ended up buying this down here at the 10/50 SMA. Got a nice bounce, hit 50%, came back down to my fill, and I stopped even on it. It still looks really good for higher. FOMC kind of just chopped it up a bit. So the chart, I still really like it for higher. Once we close above here, you could have re-entered if you wanted to after all the wiki action from FOMC. But yeah, BMR or BMNR, it's a really good setup. Hourly's crossed. We got the 2-hour that's crossing as well. Looks solid. I would target the 4-hour 50 here for a take profit, which is sitting around like what, 3 something? Yeah, 315 on the contracts. What else do we got here? So if we go over to JPM, this is another really good looking setup. So again, we had this cross here on the 30-minute. You could have bought this dip here at the 50 SMA today. I think that was during FOMC. So maybe not the dip you would have bought today, but still in the past you could kind of just see where the entry came from. We got the cross. You could buy this dip here to the 50. Didn't really quite hit the 50, but again, this would have been your main entry point the other day. That looked really good. You buy these 50 dips after the cross, in the trend, and you can see the move that we got. Really nice move, and the higher time frames look really good on it. 4 hours crossing, daily time frames is setting up for a cross, and then when we flip, obviously on to the monthly contracts, there was actually a cross on the daily as well, I believe. So yeah, you can see here on the daily, on the monthlies, this ended up crossing. Higher time frame, a really bullish trend on JPM. So MSTR, I told you guys I was in this at the close yesterday, swung this into today, got a nice move out of it. Contracts were up 50%. I trimmed a little bit off, not gonna lie, I didn't trim too much. So once this came back down, I just got out at even. There was no point for me to really continue to hold it. I mean, after I'm up 40-50%, and I take a little bit of a trim at that point, stop loss break even, and even if you waited for the 50 to get closed below, I mean, at that point though, I mean, the 50 did turn down a little bit, but if you waited for the closure below, you still wouldn't have lost a lot. I mean, we entered these yesterday around 640 close, so 20% maybe max you would have lost on that trade. But yeah, MSCR, small, we got a small move out of it, 50%, nothing too crazy. SoFi ended up cutting this today as well, so ended up cutting this right here at, I believe, around 12 o'clock, because I saw the 30-minute chart starting to go negative. I closed the weeklies for, I think, 5% down. I was down 5%, so really nothing to complain about there. We already swung this from Friday, so we ended up getting this big move lower here. I trimmed some, and then I added back the position down here at the 50, and then we closed below the 50. So I pretty much sold it at where I bought it at today. So, I mean, can't really complain with that. It was up 80% at one point, probably even more, but yeah. And then I also had October contracts, which I ended up selling for, I think, maybe 5 to 10%, somewhere in that range. So those were still green, and I'm still pretty bullish on SoFi. It's just that on a shorter time frame, you gotta wait for that 30-minute chart to cross again. And then when we look on the monthly side of things for SoFi, I mean, the chart is still really bullish, because if we look here on the daily chart is still really bullish. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this 50 SMA is your major support, so if you wanted to take an entry, you could buy the dip at the 50 if we get it. If not, just wait for the 30-minute chart to cross again. But that's what we did for SoFi. PDD was a really good one. I told you guys I swung this, and look at the move we got out of it today. I mean, my gosh, we ended up gapping up so much on these contracts. My October ones were up 140, 150%, and then the ones I had for next week were up, I think, 110% maybe at one point. So yeah, we got a new high day in the close there. So again, I'm still holding some of this. I trimmed a really good portion of it already. So yeah, I told you guys that monthly cross, it's a very significant thing that's happening at PDD. I'd expect this to go higher over the next couple days. Maybe there's going to be a day where there's a pullback, but I feel like that'll get bought up just because of this daily time frame crossing on the monthlies. But PDD, really good one. Told you guys that we were swinging that into today, and that ended up paying off pretty big. So yeah, again, for that trade, it was simple. All we did was play the 30-minute cross. These are actually not the ones I wanted to show you, because this is the monthly chart. But if we pulled up the weeklies here on PDD, I can show you what that cross ended up looking like. So right here, September 19th. Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. All we did, 10 SMA cross 50, you could have bought a dip down in here. At the 50, that would have been your picture perfect entry. We got a dip to the close yesterday, and I told you guys it's still looking really bullish. What do you know? Next day, we end up gapping up a couple percent right here, and you get paid. I mean, it's a really simple concept. But I mean, that's pretty much, I think, all that I got. That all we did today. I'm trying to think of what other swings. I know we're still in JD right here. Still looks really good. I went over this yesterday, but daily chart again just crossing on the monthlies. Looks really good for higher. If there's any pullbacks, expect them to get bought up. But yeah, 10 SMA crossing the 50 here on the daily, really bullish chart. And that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. But I'm out. Peace.